Well, hey friends and neighbors, this is Chuck out at Sheraton Park Farms. Welcome back to the farm. So it's getting hot. Today's the first day of summer, and it's getting hot. Of course, we had some hot weather here in North Carolina a couple weeks ago, but we got a big project. We've got our beef cattle out on pasture. We have just moved them into an open field where there is very little shade. The best we can do in some parts of the day. Most of the time during the day, there's no shade at all. So we got to figure out something. I've got an idea. So let's get the tractor saddled up. It's going to take 2 tractors to get this done. Let's get the tractor saddled up and we'll show you what we're going to do. And stick around to the end. I want to talk a little bit about this Kansas thing and this sudden death of all those cattle out in Kansas. I've got some thoughts on that, and I think you want to hear it. So stick around to the end. But first, we got a lot of work to do. Hang out with us for a little bit. Okay, so here is our problem that we're going to try to solve. This is a covered silage feeder that the previous owners left on the property. And this contraption at one time was down over the hill down there next to the woods. While Son and I were gone for Valentine's Day, I think it was, we were gone over the weekend, JW came up and used the New Holland and pulled it out of the woods down there somewhere. I wasn't here to witness it. Glad I wasn't. Up the hill here somehow, and that's steep. I mean, that's a steep incline over there. Pulled that thing up and around and parked it here. So what we want to do now is we want to take this and we want to move it from up here to the field down there where the cattle are, primarily to use as a little bit of a shade structure, because it's middle of June. We're supposed to get up to 90 today, and when they're down here in this field, there's just not a whole lot of shade. So we need to be able to give them some kind of shade. I know it's not going to be a whole lot because the roof on it is pretty small, but something's better than nothing, and we're going to make sure that they got plenty of water. So we're going to try to figure out how to do this. Number one, we want to get it out. Number two, we want to get it out without killing anybody. And number three, we want to do it without tearing anything up. So we've got a long list of to-dos here. So let's get this thing hooked up. I think what we're going to do is we're going to try to spin it around. We're going to back it down the hill and reposition, and then try to pull it out, either going out this way or going out that way. We're going to get it down off the hill here and see what our best options are going to be. Biggest obstacles right now, house is down there, there's a fence. We don't want it going through the fence, and we definitely don't want it going in the house. So we're going to hook it up to the New Holland, big heavy tractor. Just going to go slow, take our time, and see how this works out. Good?
Yeah, so let's chalk it and unhook.
Still recording? Yeah. All right, so we've changed our angle of attack. We've backed it straight down to the fence. We've left some room. We're going to unhook, and we're going to take the front axle, that tongue, and we're going to spin it around this way and reset the New Holland. Before we unhook, we've chalked it. We've chalked all the wheels, but I don't feel good about it. So we're going to take the Coyote and go up here above the New Holland and park it, put the bucket down, and we're going to tether this thing with a big tow strap. We're going to tether this thing with a tow strap to the Coyote so that it can't roll back. Last thing I'd want to do is get it here, unhook it, that thing jump over a chalk. I know it's unlikely, but jump over a chalk and go through that fence and then the vinyl fence, and then God only knows what kind of mess we'd make. So let's reset this thing and tether it to another tractor. How you want to do this?
Oh, I don't know.
We'll think of something, won't we? This is probably you think this is the sketchiest thing we've ever done?
I don't know ever, but it's getting on up there.
What was sketchier than this?
I'd have to think about it a little while. We're always doing some.
Don't swear. You were about to swear. You were just about to swear. I could tell, wasn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't swear. My mama might be watching this.
Oh, man.
You don't want to be using that kind of language.
Yeah.
There, it's off the chalk, ain't it? So we've kind of reset now. We've got the building in position, and I've reset the tractor here, the New Holland. We reset the New Holland here. Now we're going to turn, excuse me, we're going to turn down the hill and see if we can get it to straighten up before we go through the gate. If we can get this thing straightened, I think if we get it straightened up, we're home free, aren't we?
Yeah, the key is keeping the tractor as straight up and down the hill as you can, because if you get much sideways, the trailer's going to try to push the tractor down.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So just go easy.
Okay. So do we untether it now?
You get on it first.
I get on it first.
And I'm going to pull a little bit with this and get those chocks out, or that ain't going to move.
Okay, you're right. Yeah. Okie doke. All right. Have you got something you can throw over that? I don't have anything we can throw over it. All right. Just keep your head down. You got a shirt? Yeah, there's a shirt on there. Put a shirt on there. I know it's not a cable, but, you know, and it may not work here. I don't know how much stored energy this thing's going to have. But if you're ever using a cable, always drape something over it. That way, if something breaks or comes loose, the weight will push it down, and it'll lessen your chances of getting hurt bad. So.
Let's see, what's going to happen is, as you go down the hill, that left chalk is going to dig in. And that's going to keep the trailer from going backwards.
The chalk on that side?
On the left side.
On the other side?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, it will. All right.
All right, hold on. All right, go ahead. Go real easy. You stop if I tell you to. You stop if I holler. That wheel ain't come off the ground yet. You got it. Yep. Okay.
Huh?
Time for a beer.
Time for a beer. It's not even 12 o'clock.
I don't care.
Don't matter, does it? Look at there. We got her off the hill. Now we got to get it down there. But we got it here. And that was the part. This is the part that I've really been worried about, was being able to get it off this hill without tearing something up and without getting somebody hurt. So, yeah, that went pretty good. I'm sure y'all are out there, oh, I'd have done it this way, I'd have done it that way, and maybe you would have, but we were here and this is how we had to do it. This is how we felt the safest. And yeah, didn't get a broke nose either. That's a big deal.
I see there, Farmer Brown.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, I see that.
See what they done?
Went right to it.
They went right to it. I mean, I know there's some old junky hay and stuff in there. I mean, there's no grain, but there's some old junky hay in there. Whenever they stuck their head in there. But they can all get over there and they can get their head in there.
Yeah.
You know, they can get their head out of the heat. So.
Would it do you good to turn it the other way? Like the way the sun's attracting?
Well.
Maybe this afternoon.
You know, it probably would. That's probably something to think about. It's the orientation. The problem is this time of year, the sun just stays so high in the sky.
Yeah.
Everything's pretty direct. But yeah, maybe it would.
This afternoon it'll.
Let's see, it would be best, what, to point it south? Have the wide side to the south?
Not right now, but because it's overhead. But
yeah. No, you're right. No, I
this
think
afternoon.
that's probably a good idea. Have that wide side to the south. Trying to be real consistent on time of day, and I'm a little later today than normal. It's a little after 5, but we're trying to do this around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Come on across, boys. I'm dropping the goodies. All right, there they are. you're going to see your most impact and your most pressure around drinking, mineral, and lounging areas. And so here's the drinker, and we're going to have to turn that drinker around because of the way the hose is coming into it. A lot of impact here, getting some bare soil just after 24 hours. So that's just what you're going to get. That's where your impact's going to be. All right, let's see what our impact is on our lounge area. Oh yeah, a lot of manure, a lot of pushed down grass right here. It's kind of in the shadow, so I don't know how it's going to show up. A lot of impact. This is where they've been spending a huge amount of time for the past 4 or 5 hours. What we would expect. That's okay. The trick is rest. We're going to pull them off of this. They're off. We're not going to let them come back for about 45 days. So this will get plenty of rest. On this side over here, which ended up being the sunny side, excuse me, still plenty of impact, but not quite as much. So what I want to do on the next move with this thing is I want to turn it broadside to the south. And best I can tell using the compass on my phone, that is due south. So we want to turn this, we want to turn the shade structure broadside to the south so that we're capturing the most shade from the roof on this thing. Now, what is it? Well, this is a piece of equipment that the previous owners had left, and it's a silage feeder, hay feeder. I don't know what you want to call it, what you feed cows out of. But they had taken and built, they bolted in, this looks like some 2x6s, and just built a frame, an A-frame structure on this thing, and then put tin on it so that it was covered. It's genius, absolutely genius. Now, y'all know we're not feeding silage. We may feed a little hay if we end up with some cows over winter and we get some snow and that kind of thing. But I'm not going to use this for feeding silage. But daggone, I can use it for a shade structure. And actually, JW's got another idea we may use this thing for, but that's to be determined. Still a lot of work to do. We're thinking about using it for something else. But I don't know how long this thing is. It's a Stolzfus. I don't know anything about these things. Y'all probably do. It's a Stolzfus. Probably, I don't know, 25 feet long. Got articulating set of tricycle wheels in the front. Probably, what is that, maybe 5 feet wide, 6 feet, ain't 6 feet. So, but with the roof, we're probably going to be, I'm going to guess, maybe 10, 12 feet wide, 20 feet, 25 feet long. And so, let's see what kind of shadow we get over here. Could we use more shade? Sure, absolutely we could. But it's what we got. It's what we're using. And for today, man, it seemed to work out great. So, let's pull this thing on around, get it set up for the paddock that they're in. Should be quick and easy. We'll turn that drinker around. We got their mineral feeder out there. We'll see if we can get it picked up and get it moved. And we'll be ready going for some supper. Sandra told me to bring a chicken. I think she wants a dead one. Yeah, I'll get her one out of the freezer. That'd probably be better. All right, not a live chicken. All right, had to find a little bit of a shade structure for myself, so came back up to the shop and got a Gatorade and trying to cool off. It's pretty hot out there. Like I said, the temperature today I think was forecast to be 91 with a heat index of about 97, and I believe it. It's pretty hot. So that's probably one of the sketchier things that we've ever done. Excuse me. One of the sketchier things that we've ever done is trying to get that big, long, top-heavy structure down off the side of a steep incline without wrecking it, tearing something up, hurting somebody or anything like that. So pretty pleased with how that went. Couple things I wanted to talk about real quick, and if you've stayed for the video this far, I appreciate it. Please be sure to give me a thumbs up down below. But real quick, number one is this deal in Kansas with all these thousands of head of cattle that just all of a sudden died. And there's a lot of conspiracy kinds of things out there on, social media and in the news and all that kind of thing. And I'm kind of at the stage in life now that I've learned to believe nothing that you hear and only half of what you see. I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened. But here's what I do know, and here's what I've discovered since we brought cattle onto our farm. Those animals can get heat stressed in what we consider probably pretty good conditions. They can get heat stressed pretty quick. We saw it a couple of weeks ago when we had our first temperature spike. We had a lot of panting, a lot of hard, heavy breathing. Animals started getting sluggish, slow to eat. We moved them into a cooler area, gave them even more water than what they had, and we saw that turn around pretty quick. Those animals in Kansas were on feedlots, and very little to no shade, basically zero vegetation. They were on just a dirt ground, and you're getting a lot of radiant heat coming back up off the ground. They had a spike in temperature real quick. So is it plausible that those animals did just absolutely get heat stressed and die? Absolutely it is. And again, a lot of conspiracy stuff out there. I don't know what's going on, but here's what I do know. I do know that if you've got cattle on your farm, or any animal, chickens, pigs, whatever the case may be mindful of the temperature, be mindful of the conditions, and be mindful of them having water, shade, mud, a breeze, a mister, whatever you need to do to keep those animals cool. We spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money to get these animals to different stages in their life so that we can eventually process them for either our own personal consumption or for retail sale. So it behooves you to spend a little time, a little effort, a little energy, and maybe even a little money, and I'm tight as a tick, to make sure that you've got the necessary infrastructure for those animals that you need to have to keep them cool. We had this thing, I was laying in bed the other night, knew the temperature was about to get hot, trying to think, oh God, what am I gonna do? And I was trying to come up with some system of chutes and pulleys and ladders and 2x4s and shade cloth and tarps. And I thought, hey, we got this thing. It's not ideal, but it's better than nothing. So we were able to get that moved down, and I think it's going to work out good. Time will tell as we go through some hot days this week. So the other thing I want to talk about is the opportunity that I think is coming in the retail beef space. As we see prices on diesel fuel, fertilizer, feed costs for folks that are raising beef in a conventional sense, feeding them on grain and then selling them out to feedlots, and those feedlots are finishing them up. I think we're going to see an opportunity there. As these costs go up, I think farmers that are raising medium to small to medium sized herds are going to find that they're going to get squozed pretty tight on cost to raise those animals, and so they're going to decide to sell off. It's going to be cheaper to sell them than it is to feed them and keep them. What that's going to do is I think it's going to flood the market with animals that are going to become very, very cheap. These processors and feedlots are going to buy those animals cheap, take them, finish them off, process them, and then sell them in the grocery store at an even more inflated rate than what we're seeing now, under the guise of that it's more expensive to raise those animals out and finish them off. And it may be a little more expensive for them, but I think they're going to buy the animals cheaper. So for those of us that are in the small farm regenerative ag space, I think there's two opportunities. Number one, I think you're going to be able to buy some pretty cheap cattle. If you can pick up some stockers that you can finish off on grass on your property, I think that there's going to be an opportunity there to buy some cheaper animals. Number two, I think we're going to continue to be. We're finding even now that we're competitive in the retail space. We have folks come through our farmers markets. Hey, how much is a chuck roast? Well, we'll pull out a chuck roast. Well, that's about what it costs over at Publix or over at whatever, some of those Kroger, whatever, some of those fancier grocery stores are. Kroger's probably not a fancy grocery store. Anyway, but we're finding customers are telling us that we're pretty competitive on some of our cuts of beef. So I think as we continue to see prices in the grocery store go up, if we can hold price, maintain price on where we're at, raising animals on grass, I think there's going to be a real opportunity there. Challenge is going to be processing. We got an email from our processor the other day. Processing costs are going up. We got to pass that along, but it's not crazy. I mean, it's an increase, but I think we can absorb some of it, pass some of it along, and everybody end up winning. So, yeah, I think if you're doing beef, I think there's going to be an opportunity to buy some cheap animals, and I think you're going to continue to be very competitive in this retail area, wholes, halves, quarters, and even retail cuts. I think wholes, halves, and quarters I think there's a future there. I think customers are looking to fill their freezer with plenty of meat at a reasonable cost, we can do that. So I think there's going to be opportunity on that side as well. I don't know. I'm prognosticating again, like I said earlier. Believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. And yeah, interesting times. Interesting times. Like we always say, please keep us in your prayers. May God bless you and your families. And we'll see you on the next video.